going to put the ice inside my bag. You can tell I'm wearing board shorts now. The Shaz, he has clothes on. Isn't this a cool shirt? This is a cool shirt. Whew. Whew. Let's tighten these up. Get that ice nice and tight. Whew. I think we're on the mends. I think after today we only get better. I'm just going to lay back for a minute and be way back here. What was that? Wait, I have to check what that last one was real quick. What was that? Was that best to do it? Gosh. Yeah, best to do it. We're going to do 4 today. We're going to do 1 more. We did 3 yesterday because yesterday was the day of injury. And then we're going to do... Just had the last of my coffee. And then we're going to... Once you have a mustache or a beard, you get used to wiping your face every time you put shit in it. And then we're going to do real estate license. Cool. And then, yeah, and then tomorrow I'll do the videos. The videos are really easy because I'll just go through the videos and talk about each client if I could remember them and how we interacted. Yeah, so this is good because if I could catch up, which is what we were supposed to do 3 hours ago, if I could catch up, I'm going to try to put my feet up. Let me see if I can actually... Oh. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh. Oh, Big Bane. Oh, Big Bane. Oh, fuck. Come on, feet. Come on, if I could put my feet up, it might... No, I won't be able to because I'm sitting on a cushion. I'm okay. This is all... Don't mind the man behind the curtain type shit. All right. That ice feels so good. Whew. Ooh. I love ice packs. Ice packs are so nice. Ice packs are my friend. I love it like this feeling, and then until it numbs, and then the whole thing is numb. So we're gonna do this. We have an hour. There's not that many long stories. It seems like I have like 2 or 3 long stories to do in these. We did I want to kind of like contextualize these. The Greek Cabion referendum, name change form. Well, I have to walk my way to Thompson, I think, because there's plenty of real estate ones, and then I'm doing the real estate showing. So let me walk my way to Thompson. I'll continue doing that. And then I should probably... The New Jersey suspension of license is my New Jersey weed arrest. So I don't have to worry too much about that because I'm going to do the real estate showings and then I could talk about the weed arrest then. So that's when I'll tell that story. So, and then we have still plenty of real estate documents. 2016 tax return, California marijuana recreational license. I could talk about my vacations. Yeah, we got plenty. We got plenty. This is a dense ending here. So I could spend another hour talking about wait time because there's 1 or 2 good interactions and people I want to remember. When I was in the hostel, one of the reasons why the hostel is important, that one in Brighton Beach, is life lessons like this, like with women, with friends. So like at this point, Shaz is making a little bit of money. I'm not making enough to find an apartment. I'm making enough to survive. My $3,000 to $5,000 a month, I'm learning how to make my $3,000 to $5,000. Sometimes it's only $1,000, and I barely get by through the next month. My first year in real estate, I did $40,000. Then I did $90,000. Then $130,000. By the time I did $130,000 is when I was having steady places to live. But even when I had $90,000, I was only still doing like the rooms and stuff. In order to really get granular and figure out where I was living at these times, I'd have to look at my emails. My emails would probably tell me because that's how I secured my rooms and stuff like that. But if I don't do that, then I'm all basing off of my memory and I might be missing stuff. So I'm just painting broad strokes because this is real estate. I'm still living, breathing, and like the Sacramento kid, he was like, when you're focused and you're dialed in, you're dialed in. So the Sacramento kid was like, damn, you wake up. Like, he's like, when I wake up, you're gone. And then fucking you don't come home until like late at night. That's what I did. I partied with these guys, but like rarely, like if I closed the deal, I'd come home with some beer and shit like that. But other than that, I was living and breathing real estate. So I would, especially since Brighton is an hour away from Manhattan. So, and also that's how you keep from being depressed in these types of places. The homies helped me. The fact that I was making friendships and relationships. Oh, fucking A. But it only got more and more depressing staying in these places. And so I'll explain some of the bad and the reason why I prioritize getting out of there. So the Sacramento kid left. He got an apartment. I ended up getting a place with him for a couple months, or just crashing on their couch, giving them some money, and then I bounced and got I got my own place. I sublet this model girl's place in the Lower East Side, but we'll get to that point. And then after the model in the Lower East Side, what did I do? I got the guy, the roommate, and then that was a whole year of stability. And then with that year of stability, I got a girlfriend, because that year of stability gave me the chance to actually date and not just like have these casual hookup craziness. So I took a whole about year or more, probably like, yeah, it took let me think, 2013 this is all happening. So 2014 until the end of that summer, I got that apartment with that kid, probably fall of 2014, which, yeah, that girlfriend that I got then, it was right around Halloween as we started doing our thing, 2014. And then I made it to Thompson, and I stayed on Thompson or around Thompson for a couple years to 2016. And then got my apartment on 13 Carmine, no, on Sullivan, 2016. And then 2017, 2018 was 13 Carmine. So yeah, so we got this. 14, 15 Thompson, 2016 Sullivan, and then 17, 18 Carmine. What was it? 14, 15 was 172 and 178 Thompson. 16 was 224 to Sullivan. And then 17 and 18 was 13 Carmine, number 13, New York, 10014. Send those people a postcard. But, oh my God, there is something going on back there. I don't know if it's good or I don't know if it's bad, but I like it. Sitting like this really stiffens it up because you're sitting in one position. So I'll try to like lean forward a little bit and I'll try to lean back a little bit. Yeah, that's why I could only do 4 hours. I don't want to push it. And then tomorrow I'll try 5 hours and I'll try swimming too. I'm going to hit it hard. I'm not going to fucking shy away from this because it's not terminal and I don't think it's that bad. So I'm just going to work into it as much as I can, but stay away from that type of pain that drops you. I still can't easily get up or get down. I don't have free range of motion by far, but I'm going to, within the range of motion I have, just start working on my core as soon as I can, and then start swimming and doing exercises so I don't lose the strength that I just earned back. And then hopefully next year, we'll see. Hopefully January I can start hitting the gym hard. All right. All right. I feel like from this far away, I can't really see myself, which is okay. I don't have to see myself to tell these stories. Fucking drink coffee and then you yawn. Go figure. That's like dehydration. So now I have that framework. That's good. This is why we do shit like this. Oh, don't lean. Look at it. Just lean forward. It's just a casual. That's just how I'm used to talking. So we have that framework. 2014, 15 Thompson, 16 Sullivan, 17, 18 Carmine. Give or take. And then there's some bouncing around in there. There was a summer I wanted to live in my fucking car. By then I had a Honda Element. And my girlfriend at the time, I told her, I'm just going to live in my car. Don't worry about it. She was like, what? And I was just going to, it was homeless shaz. I was like, I've been homeless before. Let me live in my car. And I did that shit for like a night or two. I was like, this shit sucks. Fuck that. I thought I was going to do taking a shower at the gym, living in my car. I was like, nah, dude, I can't do this. I went and got a hostel. So that summer, I stayed at a hostel. I'm going to try to stay back because I'm trying to give my back a break. So that way when I'm leaning forward, I'm not in that. I'll be in that position for like 20, 30 minutes, but I want to be in that position for the whole video. So I'm going to do this for like at least 15 minutes leaning back. But, so we're going to walk from the hostel to Thompson, and then the two places in Thompson to Sullivan, and then Sullivan to Carmine. That's what we're going to do in this video. And then that'll cover most of these documents. And then hopefully I'll have enough time at the end of the video to fit these documents into it. The ones that I've done so far today. The Greek, well, even some of yesterday. All of the real estate stuff, really. Greek caveat referendum, name change form. Because all of these, I just remember where I was at and what I was thinking when I did them. Because I was a different person in the hostels. Like, I went from Occupy Wall Street to fucking, well, from Puerto Rico, Vieques, Anarchy Island. Well, even, like, it was all such a big shift. I went from doing cocaine with a dominatrix girlfriend in some ghetto-ass Brooklyn apartment to selling insurance in California, to running for the governor of California, to living at home, to Puerto Rico, to Florida to getting arrested, to back to Puerto Rico, to Chicago to drive a car to California, to home to write a book proposal to Occupy Wall Street to Puerto Rico, to New York to get my real estate license in that anarchist house. Got hit with a bat. I'm not going to mention that anymore. I'm done with that fucking story. And then I don't want to glorify violence, and you don't want to give that story's done in my head. And then to fucking well, all of these stories are going to be on the back burner. That's why I'm getting them all out, so I could, like, when I'm kind of stubborn when I do stuff, I kind of like just throw myself into it. So I'm getting this out so I have a theory that I'll be able to clear up bandwidth in my mind for other stuff. These are stories I tell my clients, stories that, like, I tell people, like, just when I look back at my life, I process verbally with everyone I talk to. So by me processing so much with myself, hopefully I can make my peace with the fact that, like, this is down somewhere. If I want to make something of this and tie together whatever threads are in here into a narrative, I can, but I don't have to keep fucking repeating it all. So I'm trying to, and even if stuff that I've left out, there's a framework now that then I can go back and fill in the details of other stuff. So this is just the stuff. Just last night I remembered something. I woke up this morning. Sometimes when you're in this type of thinking, you wake up with memories that, like, deep memories, emotional memories. Like when Mike was living out of my car in Defense Language Institute in Monterey, I didn't realize I resented him. I was actually angry at him, and I was figuring out if he was taking advantage of me, and our friendship suffered a little bit because of that. Because, like, that's one of the reasons why I was failing in my language class. But at the same time, that's also one of the reasons why I could take so much shit from my military command. Because I had my best friend living in my car that eventually we went and we got a place together. So the Army could do whatever the fuck it wanted to me. I had my homie and he had my back. And every night I'd go back fucking to him and we had our bromance going on. And it's like us against the world. Fuck it. It's like me and him. At the time, I'm better with my family, but, like, we grew up and we're just like, your friends are your foundation. But so it was like, I couldn't do well in school because all my energy was going into my friendship, and fucking this guy came up from Southern California to Monterey, and I was trying to help him put him on his feet, but also, like, sharing a place with him and doing all this. I was supposed to be living on base, but I was living off with him. But also he was my emotional support. So when the military was giving me the shit, it was like I wasn't isolated. And it didn't affect me as much. So I knew I had him there also just as a kind of, like, what's important in life. Your friends and family are important. Everything else is just details. It's like my circle goes outwards from there. And people like that are both friends and family. Like, we're not just friends. We're, like, hetero life partners after a while. He loves Kevin Smith. He is. That's what type of mind he has. He has a Kevin Smith mind. He just hasn't had his Kevin Smith break because we like women, and he went the woman path and got a girl and got a family, and he took off with that route, and now it's the family and the kids which become a priority. But that's why we're motivating each other this year. I told him I'm working on my shit to sell, and he's working on his shit. We'll find each other at the end of the rainbow. We'll both have a pot of gold, I'm sure. But I was in that hostel, and so I have the Sacramento dude, and then the Indian girl that I don't think she ever gave it up. I think she held it out. She just fucking, because she knew he had a girl in Russia. They were both fucking teasing each other. And then me and Boston Girl were more platonic than anything. But every now and then she'd be like, she'd hit and she'd be like, yo, that was, the other night was cool. Like, I'm down if you ever want to fucking do that again. I'm like, just take a cold shower, girl. Come on. Because I was looking for a girlfriend. I wasn't looking for, in my mind, every night, that's why I would wake up by the sunrise or something, 6 o'clock. I'd be out of there by 7. If you hang around that hostel, you're going to, also, I'm very sensitive to that shit. I look around me. I'm not going to get stuck here. I'm on my way up. I came from sleeping in the park to this. I'm not going back to the park. I'm going to get a place. And once I get a place, I'm going to get a girl. It's just once you're focused. So I saw my trajectory very clear. That's how much anger I had from Occupy Wall Street. And also my clients. After having success, and then I think it matters dating into that class. When I dated a girl who was a graduate student at NYU. Just dating into the normal people in normal society lets you not hate them. But I was still from very much on the outside. My clients, I was just like they wouldn't know all I had was a bagel that day to eat or like a cup of coffee. And like there was a lot of times that like I really needed that commission check, but you just got to play it cool. It's like that girl I talked about the last video where she called me an herb. It's like you can't be an herb in front of your clients. You can't let them know how much that commission means to you, because then, especially if you're not qualifying them the best, where like some of them are bad clients, they're gonna fucking walk all over you. I had these kids after lease signing and they didn't bring the commission check, this and that, and they walked the commission down from 15% down to a month. They're like, no, we're gonna give you a month. We're not gonna. I was like, that's not what we agreed on, but I didn't cover my ass. They didn't even have to pay me anything if they want to be a dick. Now I have to chase them in small claims court. So they just basically changed the agreement on me because I didn't cover my ass with a signed agreement. Usually I didn't anyways, but you get better at qualifying people. That's one of the reasons I stopped doing roommates. Too many, you could miss something in the shuffle of a lot of people. But like, yeah, one of those kids, he was a programmer, one of these little fucking tech douches. He was like, yeah, this is what we're going to pay you because we think this is fair. Oh, that's how business works? All right. I just recognize that character. So I recognize that character at the very top at some of these companies like Reddit and other companies. It's like, you guys think that you win by being a douche. That's not how you win in life. It's all about building relationships. You're just fucking... But whatever you have, whatever competitive advantage, other people could figure out. But people, if they don't want to do business with you, and if there's someone else who can provide a equal service, but not be a dick, they might take your market share. But anyways. So, but we're not talking about that. We're not talking about the business just yet. We'll get to the business. So I'm in the hostel. We have the Indian Sacramento. We have the Azerbaijani. We have the fucking the Pitchfork girl. Fucking was from a good family. She worked for Pitchfork. She had a degree. She shouldn't have been. She was maybe collecting stories or some shit. But like she got the fuck out of there. She wasn't there for long. She finally got an apartment. Yeah, that's what it is. It's so hard to find an apartment in New York. Sometimes you're just stuck in these holding patterns until you actually like figure it out. That's why I have job security, especially in that market. It was a very competitive market. So I remember I took this model girl out, not on a date, a client. And most of my clients are girls. Maybe that's how sales works, brokering works. Most of my female friends would get male clients. I would get mostly girls. They feel overwhelmed, whatever. They like my picture, something. It's all emotional and it's all. But once they meet me, it's all business. All the cute girls I would meet in real estate, until I got a place I wasn't going to date, or else that was going to fuck up my grind. I knew how these things work. I'm old enough. I'm not 20 getting into this. I'm 30 getting into it. And now I'm like 31, 32. So you have to get your feet under you. I have to save up money to get a place in my own name. I need 10 to 20,000. So I'm starting to try to put that away. But it took me about a year or two to actually have like 10, 15,000 to put down on a place, which in Manhattan, these are down payments for a house anywhere else in the country. But in Manhattan, my first apartment in my name was 2,200 times 5. So do the math. 2,200 times 5 is 11,000, is it? Maybe 6. I had to pay first, last, and 3 months deposit. About 20. Maybe it was a $2,300 apartment. So yeah, so it's, and I was expecting for like 6 months. That's why I got that studio, not because it was the nicest apartment, because it was an apartment in the village, and because they would accept a broker because I didn't have that salary. So being non-salary position, I had to show them tax returns, show them that I made it 2 years. I showed them 130 and 170. No, I probably showed them 90 and then 130. And then I just paid off my debts. I just got my credit up to 700, which is a whole nother thing. We'll talk. We'll catch up on that too. But the reason why this model girl is important is because she was like, you have these girls in your life, or you have these instances in your life. I have two examples, one with a girl and one with a business, where one of my clients made a connection with a guy who was trying to find a hotel space in New York, in Manhattan. And she said at the interview, or the meeting, I just wanted to fucking dip my toes in that water, and she was my rental client. I found her an apartment. She really liked me. She was this guy's assistant or something. But they're commercial real estate developers. And I worked at Hecht Group, and we have these decent-sized companies have a decent-sized inter-office email. So I thought maybe I could sit down with him, figure out his appetite, go back, find, because I'd heard deals like this happening, even if I don't know how to do commercial real estate. I connect the relevant parties. I get my little 1% out of a 3% deal. 1% on a $50 million project isn't that bad of money. So I've heard people making really good money just by connecting parties like that. And then that's also how you learn. Now you're a fucking fly on the wall, and you got to figure out how this shit's done. And you can actually, it's rentals. After a couple months rentals, I knew what I was doing, and after a couple years, I could call myself an expert. Commercial real estate, other more technical aspects, even sales, you need kind of a mentor or someone to walk you through. As I'm really proud about Shaw being in it, because if I want to get back in real estate, I have, and not just her, I have people in it who I could I think grow a business decently, but I have people who I would have work on certain divisions. But that's the whole thing about this year is that worth my time? Is that what I want to do? Media and publishing, maybe. If I like writing and I'm a writer by heart and by trade, then apply this business side of me and this entrepreneurial side to that industry is what my suspicion was, especially after reading like the autobiography of not the autobiography, but Sticky Fingers, the book about the guy who started Rolling Stone. Just once you start to take these guys down a peg and realize that they're not the smartest guys in the room, they're just the most ambitious. And then you realize that maybe you should start playing more offense and less defense. And that's where it comes into humility. Sometimes life is about being too humble. Time to be a little bit more aggressive. My chess game, sometimes I'm like, fuck. I just practice defensive stuff, and I practice ways to fucking line up my bishops on the diagonals or coordinate multi-piece attacks. But sometimes I'm like, my score starts dropping below 1200, and I'm like, all right, let me just do offense. Like, instead of defense, let me just, every time I can push an advantage. Every single time I think there's an advantage, push it, hold it, and then continue. So like the most recent game I just played, there's this opening moves in chess where if you clear out the pawns out of the middle real quick and your queens are exposed, if I take your queen, you have to take it with your king. Now you've lost your ability to castle. That's an advantage. It's not a big advantage, but you build on it. So like stuff like that. It's like you gave me the ability to take away your castling. It cost me my queen, but we're still equal because you lost your queen too. So now I have one advantage over you. I can clear out the rest of my pieces, I could castle, and now my king's better protected than you. So that's just little stuff like that. Like, there's technical ways to play, or there's complicated ways to play with strategy and tactics, or there's just technically clean plate ways to play. I'm just going to keep pushing my advantages. It's not going to be pretty, but it's going to be quick and efficient. Just every time I can claim an advantage, I'm not going to get, it's pressure. That's how Khabib, it's like, although he's rounded, but he just never lets up. He just claims space, and then fucking once he's on you, you never really get openings. And if you make one little mistake, you're done. Conor McGregor got choked out. Didn't even get choked out. Conor protected his neck enough that Khabib didn't get his neck, but he didn't need your neck to choke you or to tap you. But yeah, I watched that just the other day. When he hit Conor in the face, he faked a takedown, just a slight, like a fucking lizard would do, just a slight duck, and then fucking threw the swinging right, and it was just like, It was interesting. And even though he faked the takedown and threw the right, and Conor didn't see it coming, he still, if you look at the picture, his hand catches the forearm. Like, he didn't stop it, but like, I've I don't watch the most fighting, but I've never seen someone with Conor McGregor's instincts or reaction time or precision, or like, that guy's not out. I just they're just That's what fighting is so amazing, or like any sports. Someone can be the best at what they do in their skill set, and someone else can still be the best at what they do in a different skill set, and they could both be the best at what they do, and then you're not sure who's going to win. Like, Conor's a better striker, but Khabib hit him because Khabib's a better wrestler, and so now Conor can't defend against strikes the way he would like, because he has to defend against the wrestling as well. But Conor's, like his coach says in his training, he doesn't get hit. Like, he's able to spar as much as he wants because people don't hit him. Whatever he's doing with his fucking flow state and his mentality and his whatever, has instincts and reaction times and precision and stuff that it's interesting, and his management of space and distance, but he can figure it out probably. That'll be an interesting rematch. Maybe the question is, if Khabib's wrestling is so far beyond that even though Conor has all these advantages, Khabib only has to take him down once, because I'm gonna side with the wrestler that you might not be able to catch up unless you start from a baby, because it just might be that much better. That as soon as he takes you down, there's no one probably alive right now, or maybe the young ones growing up in this culture of MMA, but no one as of now, maybe for the next 5 years. There's a large gap. It's like when people talk about, is Kevin Durant going to surpass LeBron James as the best player in the NBA? Maybe, but he's probably a better true shooter, but also the skill gap might be too wide. Like, when it comes down to it, LeBron James is a guy who could be playing in the NFL, but he's playing in the NBA. So he just has a certain skill set that until someone else comes with that skill set, that dominant force is gonna, or maybe the body's gonna break down. But yeah, Khabib might always, at least for the foreseeable, until you find another dominant wrestler at that level. It doesn't matter. You can maybe get lucky and hit him, but if he could touch you and grab you, he'll maul you. And once he mauls you once, you're not going to be the same. Well, then you can work on your cardio maybe, but yeah, what's his name, Barbosa was still sharp at the end of their fight, which shows credit to take that type of beating and still be able to throw strikes with accuracy. I can't even imagine. MMA is amazing. It's amazing. These people are amazing. I have all this negativity towards celebrities and other stuff, and a lot of it's projection, so I'm trying to stay on the positive and respect people for what they do and not disrespect people for my own ignorance. We'll figure that out. Earlier in these videos, I was starting to approach an idea I had earlier that, like, don't mention other people's names. Don't talk about other people. Stay on my shit. Don't talk about other people. But you have to be stupid sometimes in order to be smart. So the things that I've said that I feel have a bad taste in my mouth might show me that I just keep other people's names out of my mouth, and then I'll be fine with my word. That's what this whole thing is, the learning process. After I do some of these videos, I look back and I'm like, did I feel good about that one? Did I feel like I kind of like talked beyond my ability or beyond my word? And that's what it is. It's an honest way to help other people too. Maybe, hopefully, if I have character and people start liking my character and I start liking my character and I start achieving cool things that I said I was going to do in life, and then if people wonder, well, how did Shaz become Shaz? This is it. By talking to myself and talking out my thoughts and figuring out which ones I agree with and which ones I don't. But that was one of the rules that I was thinking about just the last couple days. I'm probably going to get to the point, just like the cursing. Probably edit that out if I'm really going to get into politics. I mean, there'll be casual blogs and times when I just let loose and be who I am. But when I'm talking about politics and organizing and stuff, I can't be like, fuck this and shit that. We don't want to alienate people. And then also, no reason to talk about people and put their names in my conversation. because the real ones will recognize it, recognize me, and recognize the character. And the idiots, there's no reason to feel that. The idiots will. You jump into the trough with the pigs, what do you earn? The pigs were born in it. They're fucking used to the mug. Or what did fucking, there's this other one. Yeah, there's no, you don't want to lower yourself to the competition sometimes. 30 minutes. I had 30 minutes of Shaz talking out his thoughts. So I was in the hostel, and that model girl, yeah, the model girl, we're going to walk our way to Sullivan and then Carmine. The model girl was like she was like 5'10", 11, beautiful girl. I think I remember her name. Not beautiful, gorgeous girl. She was a fucking model. She was like black, Dominican, big fucking poofy hair, but like it wasn't the hair, it was the fucking energy. It was just like a Care Bear type heart, just fucking like hit you in the face. She was fucking and Shaz has a little swag by now. He's translated the island swag to like the New York swag. Like this shit works. These people are like, these are fucking, there's like New York hustle, and then there's like walking barefoot fucking through fucking crazy ass island adventures hustle. So like they weren't the craziest, but they were somewhat crazy. So I remember the model girl, we when you broke her apartment, she was my client. I qualified her. She wanted an apartment. She was down. My client usually was these people who were down, who were like tired of the unprofessional brokers. So she had the runaround from a couple guys. I was like, that's not me. As long as you're willing to pay my fee, you're going to have your apartment within 2 days. This is my process. Fucking have a 5-minute conversation with me right now. I'm going to email you all the apartments I'm going to show you. Pick out your top ones. Those are the ones we're going to see. There's no fucking bait and switch. There's no nothing. You've already told me you're going to pay me. There's no reason for me to fuck you. Well, I don't say it like that, but. And I was like, yeah, so and then once they start seeing that and keeping my word, within that night I send them the apartments, real addresses, real pictures. And some other brokers would ask me, why do you do that? They could just go around you and go to those apartments directly. I'm like, I would rather they do that, and then I don't work with those people. I don't want people to have to look over my shoulder whether they're going to pay me or not, because I saw that from working with my folks. There's good people out there, good clients out there who will value your professionalism. There's people out there who are just tired of dealing with non-professionals. I'm trying to be a professional. We're making $2,000-$3,000 a deal. That's professional money. We're not fucking. We're like high-end mechanics and shit. We're specialists. So be a specialist. But these guys all fucking. It's like it's the same people who think that they always have to fucking trick girls to get laid. It's like, no. Seduce her. Be romantic. Be smooth. Be blah blah blah. Don't be a creep. Don't be a fucking. You don't gotta lie. Don't front. So this model girl. So I show up with her. She's with the other broker. The other broker's there to show us the apartment. I remember it was like 242 East 10th. I really like that building. Something like that. In the East Village off of like Avenue C. But then later on I put her in the Lower East Side. She said that's where other model friends she has live there. She was making like a couple $100,000 a year. She was killing it. She was only like 22. Very intimidating. I'm like 32. And fucking, so I'm not even thinking about fucking hitting on her. Just like, but she's professional as fuck. You have to be, or else you get run in that industry. She's telling me all about the industry. But I remember when I first saw her, it's like, she's cute. She's cute as fuck. And she's like, and she's sharp. And she gives me a compliment on my shoes. Just little shit that I have. Like, I didn't have the nicest shit, but I try to have some nice shit. So I always made sure to have like nice shoes, or like a nice briefcase, a nice fucking, what else? Yeah, I had like normal slacks, normal shirt, but I work out, so my body's first of all, like I stay in shape, and then I had a nice belt, but yeah, like a couple money things, but like a pen. Once for a while I had like a $200 pen, a really nice pen. It was a fucking Porsche pen. I fucking lost that pen. It was like a space pen, but it was just, I was in the airport going to Puerto Rico or something some vacation, I had money in my pocket, and I never did that before. I went into one of the shops in the airport, and I was like, well, fuck, this is a different pen. It had a weight to it. It was fucking, some shit is money, and you're like, I always hold stuff, and I'm like, or when you're shopping for shit, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to buy a $100 t-shirt because it's a $100 t-shirt, but if I feel it, and I'm like, this is $100, this is like $75 better value than that other t-shirt. Like, I understand that some shit is handmade, not in Bangladesh, but like over here, some shit like that. So like this pen, I liked it. Like it's sometimes like I understand rich people when they buy something that's $2,000 pen. It's like maybe you just like it, but I judge people when they buy stupid shit though. Sometimes if you bought something that's like $200 I could buy for $2 and it looks the exact same, then that's stupid. But this, it like opened differently when I would give it to people to sign shit. Like it was your closing pen. If you're fucking at a lease signing, it's like here, use my pen. Everyone will compliment the pen because especially in sales. That's just a way to conversation pieces. You have something that is like a nice watch. Some people, I was never a watch dude, but some people have a nice watch. But I would wear rings, just one ring, but like um, just something that people can kind of tell that like you're. I think it's cheesy to fucking do the 3-piece suit, fucking that broker in a suit thing. So we do so much walking, and I think that turns people off more than anything. Not for sales and real money, maybe not, but for what we were doing, $2,000, $3,000 is good money. It's not real money. It's just you just want to be sharp. I would do jeans and boots and never a t-shirt. You can't do that. Always a collared shirt at least. You gotta. When I had my own company, actually, I would do the board shorts and t-shirt. But then I had my own company, so I would meet the people. But I just feel like, look, I'm the CEO, dude. But this is like a startup. We're not. I ain't got a dress code. I would tell them before we meet up, and they because clients would come to me in yoga pants and shit, and Lululemon and shit. So when they started, well, not when they started, but when I noticed that my type of clients were doing that, I was like, I'm fucking in the summer, fucking flip flops. What I'm wearing now is what I wore in the summer sometimes towards the end of it. But we had enough rapport that like other agents would give me shit. They'd be like, "You're the most casual fucking real estate agent I've ever seen." I'm like, "We're good. Fucking her paperwork's good, or else she won't be working with me. 700 plus credit, 40 times rent. We're good to go. We're just waiting for you to show us the right apartment." But anyways, 23 minutes. Shaz, how do you go from all the time in the world to no time? Shaz either has nothing to say or he has everything to say. So this girl, she was I had some, I don't know. Why did she start liking me? We were showing apartments. She commented on my shoes, so I was like, all right, that piqued my interest. Fucking girls don't just say shit to say shit. But she's also a model, so sometimes a lot of them say shit to say shit because that's her world. But but no, she was bright. She was smart. She was hustler. She was young, but she was in control of her destiny. She was a commercial model, so she laid out because I talk and everyone talks. So she laid out her whole industry. Yeah, she's not Victoria's Secret, but like she's trying to work until she's in her early 30s because you only got a window. She's trying to do her window for like at least 10 years or more. And then she's also starting businesses in the DR. She's doing it all right. She had bad credit, a little irresponsible like me. I told her I'm trying to fix my credit. I just started a program of like writing the letters, getting people things off your credit. So I told her I could try to help you out. And then when I fixed my credit, I hit her up. I told her I was going to help her and shit. We fell off. But that was one where like the door opened a little bit and then like slammed and then a little bit more and then slammed. And I didn't. That's one of the things if I look at my life and how I came up to the ability to try to. That's what this isn't about Shaz figuring out how to pursue pussy. This is about Shaz figuring out how to be confident. A confident man who stands on his own 2 feet. Pursuing the pussy is just the test of my confidence. So at that point, me pursuing her was a test of my confidence, and I didn't have enough confidence to pursue a girl like that. Now I think I do, based off of people I've been with and things that I've done. But a lot of it's also the money I've held. You don't have to make the most money in the world, but back then, I don't even think I'd made 100,000 in a year. Yeah, I just barely did the 40, and I was working on the 90, and I was living in the hostel, and so she, I didn't even think I fucking had a chance with this girl, but I found an angle. She said she was from the DR. We started talking about Puerto Rico, and I told her about the Tainos and the Indians and Borinquen, um, the place where God lives, and all the little mythology from like not even books I've read, but people who've told me, because that's what the stuff I know is from what people have told me. I'm going to read the books, but it's cool to live in an area and just some of the shit might be right, some of it might be wrong, but it's just from shit that people have told me. It's not from fucking books. Down there was my experiential life. It wasn't my scholarly life. My laptop got stolen in a week. It was the school of lifetime for Shaz. A lifetime movie. But jumping off of fucking rocks into the fucking rivers of like El Yunque. And the guide, some other guide comes up and he's like, you guys need to get out of here, it's raining. And it was just sprinkling. We're like, it's just sprinkling. He's like, it's sprinkling down here, but it's raining upriver. And you ain't gonna get a warning, you're just gonna get a flash flood. You guys need to get the fuck out of here. We're like, oh shit. If that guy didn't come along our path, we could have kept walking up the fucking river in the sprinkles until we get the fucking mountain of water coming at us. Little stuff like that. Some people, yeah, nature's like that. Nature in the wild or nature in the fucking projects, the same shit. You don't realize you're in danger until you're in danger sometimes. And people, the locals, the people who live there, who are fucking, there's certain people who always watch the street, who always know the temperature, and they know when shit gets hot, when it doesn't. I was on my way to a party once with this girl, and we got off at the Bronx. We took the train to the end of the Bronx, end of the line in the Bronx, and we had to get out and get a cab to go the rest of the way. I thought we could take the train there, but we couldn't. It was in Yonkers or something. And we got out, and we were tripping. We had done some drugs before this party. And she was like, wanted to like, she was just talking too much. I was like, yo, wait, chill for a minute. I was just trying to get a sense of my bearings, because it was the nighttime in the Bronx, and this is like a intersection. There's just people on the corners. And it's just like, all right, who's watching me, and who am I watching? Where am I at? And what's going on, what's the movement. Just get a sense of your surroundings, and who's aware of your presence before we do anything, or just slow down sometimes. Open your eyes and ears, and pay attention to who's looking at you. That's what, pay attention to nature the same way. That's what the tour guide was like. This is sprinkling, you're not paying attention to the river. Think about it, it's sprinkling. That's not a big deal right now, but it's about to be a big deal. These sprinkles could be building up upstream. Any type of rain, it was a big river, in a big river system, start getting away from the water. We were still half an hour from our entrance, so we had a half an hour to go downriver in case this broke open into a bigger rainstorm, or if it was one. Anyways, we didn't even pay attention. It's like shit like that with this type of river that flash floods. We should have known that it would have rained that day and not even gone up there. If you get caught bad over there. But the tour guide made us somewhat safe. He was like, this isn't that bad, but you need to start making your way out of here. He grew up there. You only know this shit if you grew up there. You know a block because you grew up on it. This is the stuff people teach you. You grow up watching the block, you know what happens from the stories. Those stories of it when shit went down, and then you recognize the patterns of when shit's gonna go down again. I could tell fucking, again, instinct, which I was starting to lose, living in the village. Starting to lose my ability to tell where danger is and where danger comes from. It's interesting. So I was giving that girl some of that feeling, and that I think she fucking also vibed with. She was telling me stories about how she came up in modeling. Some days only eating a coffee, a bagel a day. People don't know how hungry she is until she made it, and she broke. So we're vibing off of that, and there's like there's like a connection. We both smoke, so like after I show her the apartments the first time, I go to her apartment and we smoke, and so that right there, that's the door. That's fucking. But I'm not dumb enough to hook up with a girl. But while the business is still being had, that's like a rule. It's just like I'm just trying to. It's all about the business right now. I'm trying to fucking build up my life. So. But I'm thinking, oh shit, I could do this. Like this would be a fucking interesting thing. But like she's like my height, maybe an inch taller. I'm starting to Google platform shoes and shit. I'm like trying to Google, like I want to be able to wear heels. So I'm trying to fucking like figure out how to get myself 3-4 inches higher, so that way I could take her out in heels. Just I'm thinking long term. But in person, I just get high with her. And also, I hadn't quite practiced weed like I have now. I could still get myself stone stupid. This last year, I've like really like worked on that whole like I can't get too high. I could get high, but there is no too high. I could still functional at my highest levels. Back then, I could fucking get stoned until I'm like just not talking. No, I went to Slab City a couple weeks ago, and that kind of happened on the dabs. But if it's just weed, I'm good. I can smoke as much weed as possible, and fucking normal weed's not going to do it. Edibles, dabs, fucking concentrates, maybe. But even in Slab City, I killed those guys' dabs like 3 or 4 times, coughing, hacking. He was like, do that, do this one. And I was like, doing the whole fucking, all the little fucking wax that they had. And all I did was I just had to tap out. I was like, all right, we're about to bounce, because I needed to lay down. But I was fucking good. And I was like 6 beers in, or 5 beers. So no. But back then, me and Mata Girl, a couple times we smoked. 1 time we smoked. Yeah, 2 times we smoked. And I was just like, because also she was so intimidating. I was like, and that's what it was. I was living in that hostel, and I was just like, how can I approach a girl like this who's like It's that whole, like, even right now, I feel weird if I can't take the girl out, do stuff, but her energy, I just don't. So stuff like that. I brought up that hotel guy. That's what the story had started about. These times where I felt like I sat down across from that hotel guy and asked him, "What's your appetite? What are you looking for in Manhattan?" He was like, "Unlimited." It fucking blew me out of the water. I was like, I don't know what the fuck I can offer this guy. And then the way he was talking, it was like he knew none of my shit was proprietary. I was just like, I was see through. I'm just trying to fucking jump in on a deal that if it's a real deal, he probably already has wind of it. He's trying to look for some. He was like, I want something off market. Don't try to give me something I can find on one of these listing services. He has assistants running through the listing services. He wants to know if I would have anything in my back pocket. And in order, I wasn't in commercial real estate like that. It's like maybe something in my email chain from the inter-office stuff I can offer this guy who just hit. That's how I got my apartment. I got an apartment that before it hit the market because it went through an inter-office email chain. I went and I looked at it. I was like, boom, this is mine. You give me a discount. He was like, I'll give it to you before I advertise it. But you're not. That's why you're not paying a discount. You're getting it first. But this guy, I would have had to have connections, and I would have had to have things are basically you have connections where people are thinking of listing or selling land or buildings. He needed a certain amount of square feet in Manhattan, unlimited price, for them to build hotels, and they're always looking for stuff like that. That's what they do. They develop. So I would have to have connections where I could tell them, well, look at this stuff no one knows about, but these people are thinking about selling. If you're willing to pay a reasonable price, I'll go and I'll talk to them and I'll firm it up. And then you get like an NDA, non-disclosure, everything, make sure they can't fuck you and go around you. And then if I have people who are on the fence about selling their commercial real estate property, I go to them with someone who's willing to buy. And then now that's how that guy gets something before it hit the market. And that's how real estate works, is that there's stuff that's listed, and then because of your relationships and the people you know, you can that's a broker's real worth, is connecting stuff before it even hits the market based on relationships. And that just comes from cultivating relationships and information, because anyone could come into the market with the listing services and be, if anyone can be an amateur, but to be a professional, you're getting better than market information, and that's based off of relationships. So that's what this guy was looking for, and he sniffed me out that like I was an amateur. I never got another meeting. We were done within half an hour. I went to his, like, I think it was a Fifth Avenue office around what is it, fucking, is that Madison Square Park? What is off of 22nd Street? Whatever that fucking park is over there. And around the Flatiron. His office off of Fifth Avenue around the Flatiron. He was legit though. He had that fucking tan. He had the tan of money. Going back to Florida, he told me I'm on my way to, I'm not Florida, Hawaii. I'm on my way to a plane. Fucking after this meeting, I'm going to Hawaii for a minute. And he had the tan of the type of guy where, like, whenever he wanted a little bit of sun, he just, and it was a winter too, jumps on his plane, jumps out to fucking Hawaii, wherever. I had a connection in Puerto Rico. There's this Puerto Rican hotel. That's another thing. I'm thinking about my library in Puerto Rico and my life and my politics, and I'm talking to people who want to build hotels and casinos in Puerto Rico. Completely opposite versions of Shaz, and there's a little bit of cognitive dissonance. That's one of the reasons why when I didn't prepare that much for the meeting, and I didn't care. I didn't like his character. He knew his business, and I didn't know his business, and I give him that. But as far as people go, he wasn't my type of person. And then to introduce people like him, my mom, and other people like, why don't you do that? You should get into commercial, and you should. It's like, no, I'm making real estate money off the rentals, but it's not commitment. I'm not sure if I want to be a developer and do that developing energy. I'm not sure if I want to go full asshole. Not that those guys are assholes, but I'm not sure what my relationship is to capitalism and development and gentrification and all that. I'm not, it's just like the army. Like, I'm peeking my head in this door, but I'm not really sure if I want to be this foot soldier for capitalism, or the foot soldier for, like, does Puerto Rico need another casino resort? Or does it need autonomy, economic sovereignty, fucking agricultural independence, the ability to fucking create their own story, the dignity of their own people? Does it need to take down all the fucking statues of Columbus? Why the fuck would you ever have a statue of Columbus in Puerto Rico other than to remind them of their oppression and colonization? There was nothing good that that man did. That man's a fucking, that's one of the biggest assholes in the history of fucking the world ever. He's indefensible. If you say anything otherwise, you betray your humanity. The man would cut people's hands off for not getting him a certain amount of gold. He wrote in his diary shit that is indefensible. His own diary. No one else wrote that. He wrote that. You could say he's a product of the times. Fucking the times are shitty, whatever. We're not living in those times. Why are we glorifying those men? There's a huge fucking statue of him in San Juan. Makes no sense. I talked to the captain. I'm like, why the fuck you guys glorifying that dude? He just keeps his mouth shut. I had to prod him. I was like, do you like him? Do you like the history? What the fuck is the history here? Do people like him here? No. Who the fuck built it? Oh, the government, this and that, yeah. And people didn't build it. People know. Who the fuck is going to praise Columbus? They love the Taino blood. You love the fucking... Only like a racist, imperialist asshole would ever glorify a man like that. Anyways. So this girl was on that tip. 51 minutes. We can... Shaz, you never meet your goals of speaking. So I'm realizing the business is a little bit of power. So I act a little goofy after we smoke. And I don't fucking... I'm still thinking what could I have done to try to like get it to the next stage. A girl invites you to her apartment to smoke. There's something there. But also I wanted to wait for the business to close. But then I feel like from how we're texting, it's kind of like I'm not really... She handles her weed a lot more than me. She would actually smoke and then not eat. That's how she kept on her diet plan. These girls have to stay so fucking skinny. So she, but yeah, she told me she just didn't eat. It's like me smoking and then going to the gym. Some of us, like, it feeds into our fucking willpower. So like you smoke, but then now you're in your head, but like you're on your grind. Like it helps you not be bored while you're on your grind. So for me, I go to the gym and my mind zones out while I work out. So for her, she smokes and then she doesn't fucking keeps on her diet and shit. She was an anorexic, but these girls have to be fucking skinny. But so we close out the business. We get her an apartment. She loves her apartment. And then the way I was talking in the lease signing, my energy came up a little bit. I knew this other agent that we were closing out with. He's the one who represented the landlord. I brought the client. It's a nice little commission. And then he's like, I'm telling him about how I'm doing roommate matching. That's when I did that whole summer. I did roommate matching. And I connected roommates, 3 people up to 5 people. And then, 2 people, but 3 people up to 5. I did a 5-bedroom for like $5,600 rent. That was like that was a 1 month. So that was like a $5,600 commission. But like that was it was a bitch. It takes about 10 people to find one. That's my numbers that usually work out. So in order to, I interviewed at least 50 people to find those 5 people. Some of them happen sooner, some of them, and then people drop out. You have 3 people, and then 1 drops out. Now you have 2. You get 4 people, and then 1 drops out. Now you have 3. You have to make sure all the people like each other and all the replacements. I wasn't an asshole with it. It was a money back guarantee. I told people if you don't like the roommates, then I'll replace you for free. I put that in writing. So I made sure, and no one ever asked me to replace anyone because I made sure if we're going to live with each other, we all have met each other and bought in. And my guarantee, I tried to give them as much peace as possible. I sat down with a guy who started Roomie, the roommate matching service that now is an app. And when I sat down with him, he claimed that his company was worth a couple million back then. So who knows what it's worth now? Who knows how these guys value their startups? But he was just starting, and so he was sitting down with brokers to pick their brains. And I was one of the brokers he sat down with. So I told him, well, this is my brand. I'm doing the same exact thing. Only he went to a good school. He was a business guy. He was a programmer. He got the VC money. I wasn't doing that route. Now I could do that route. But back then I was learning what my skill set is and what I'm able to do. And I was just like happy enough just to have a little money in my pocket. But now this year off is Shaz taking a step back and being like, what are my actual skills? Like I could have done that roommate thing because I was doing it on my own with none of the resources this kid had. And I think I broke down the market a lot better than him. And I told him, these are what I think your liabilities are. These are what your challenges are going to be, the problems that you have to solve. And I told him that I'm not doing it anymore because I think the liabilities are just too much. It's not worth my time. But I've done that a couple times. Me and my bro were talking about Uber. A lot of people were before they started. And I thought the liability was too much, putting strangers in cars. And then they solved that problem. So there's with a new form of commercial insurance where they actually insure anything that happens in the car. I didn't think you could actually cover the liability of strangers if something happens to them. So like I'm learning that some of these things you think are like roadblocks, if you could solve that, nothing's an unsolvable problem. 5 more minutes. So yeah, so I'm talking about that. in the lease signing, talking myself up about the roommate matching this and that, and I'm impressing this other broker. And I notice that my client, this model girl, is kind of like, the door is opening again. She's getting more interested at Shaz, the fucking like mogul-minded Shaz. That's what you realize girls are attracted to. Like some girls, you figure out what's important to them. But she's these model girls, and they're around business people. She's telling me how the industry works. Some of these financial companies will just like, they have a lot of pool, and they know some of the model companies, and so they'll have a party and they'll be like, send us some of your girls. And she was higher than that to be fucking sent out to parties. But these girls who are only making 20, 40,000, or they're not even making that, they're trying to break. Some of the lower end girls, the agency will just send them to events. I don't know if they'll pay them or not. Just they call them networking, but what else is it? It's just fucking power and money and sex in New York at the very top. That's all. This girl sees all that. She's telling me all these stories. How the agency holds their money, treats them like kids. Fucking basically, you're giving the agency interest-free loans. You have to make sure that you're handling your money because they'll fuck you, this and that. So on our way, the way I got a lease signing around the corner from her apartment. So on the way back, she's like, yo, you want to come up smoke? And I'm like, oh, the fucking, in my mind, I'm like, the door's back open. I go up there, smoke. I think it was raining. We got wet. She offers me her brother's shirt. So I like take off a shirt in front of her and put on her brother's shirt. I'm working out by then, so I'm like pretty fit. So like that right there, like all I had to do was like initiate some physical contact or something, but like not in a creepy way, like I come close to her and I touch her breast, but like something silly. I'm in the kitchen, she's in the kitchen or something. And then like I bump up against her, I put a hand on her shoulder. No, not even like that. I'm thinking like it has to be, sometimes you overthink it. Like if it's like with a dancer girl, if it happens naturally, that's the beauty of life. And if it's not happening naturally, then maybe it wasn't meant to be. But sometimes smoking or other stuff complicates it. Sometimes it lubricates it. But for me, but that's where the insecurity. The best way to fucking approach a woman is first know who you are and be secure about who you are. Because otherwise, when you get in these instances, it was the money thing. It was just like I was living in a hostel, and I even would message her from the hostel. I'm like, how am I gonna fucking date this girl? She's fucking. She didn't even, and she didn't get that. She just thought I was funny, probably. She didn't, and that's what kind of like I felt bad about too. She doesn't understand that like I'm into her, like really like her person. Like I like her. I know she's not like these other girls she works with, just like I'm not like these other brokers that she works with. Like, and we both love weed. That's the thing. That potheads, when you find another person who's really a pothead, like we both like that's hanging out. That's why we hung out a couple times. Just fucking smoke and talk and be silly, take pictures. I have some pictures I took of her. But so I rented her place. She only rented a place because she said she wanted to get out of her place, but she had 3 months left on her lease. So I made enough money that fucking month. I just paid her. I paid her the 10 grand or whatever, the fucking 7,500. It was my money for my own apartment. It was a $500 place for a studio. But then these are some of the things that gave me the confidence to fucking run with the tribe of money. Is I lived in a doorman building in the Lower East Side, studio, fucking for 2,500, but it had a terrace, and I had a doorman and shit. The whole thing cracked me up. I got out of the fucking hostel where I would sleep with my wallet under my pillow. By the time I left that hostel, I got a minute and a half to talk about it. The Irish kid was fucking having beef with this Puerto Rican guy who was living in the basement. Puerto Rican guy had started carrying a gun and talking about how he had a gun because the Irish guy pulled a knife on him in the kitchen. Because both of them were those guys who had the red lines you don't cross. So they insulted each other or something. And the Irish guy, the fucking from Northern Ireland, didn't fuck around. So he just grabbed a knife from the fucking kitchen counter and just came. He didn't come at the Puerto Rican dude, but he grabbed it. He was like, what are we fucking talking about here? So the Puerto Rican guy started talking about his gun. I think he showed it to a couple people. He didn't show it to me. He showed it to a couple people, and I was just like, I need to get the fuck out of here. I would sleep with my wallet under my fucking pillow. Not because I thought people were going to rob me, but because I was ready. It was like when I was living in the squat. If some shit went down, I'd be out of the door within fucking 30 seconds. But I didn't have to. And then once with a Puerto Rican dude, I told him, yo, you quit with your bullshit, dude. Your energy, you're just trying to be too fucking aggressive. He was an older dude, like maybe like 10 years older than me. Anyways. And he was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I'm not trying to have shit, dude. I'm just trying to tell you, chill the fuck out. And so he started getting heated. I wasn't trying to make an enemy, but I was just trying to like chill everything the fuck out. So I lived in that doorman building for 3 months. I'll start up from there. And then after those 3 months, then I moved from there to Thompson. That's how I got to Thompson. And I don't know what the fuck the model girl's doing. I lost that connection.